this is in September 1970, the only difficulty in reading these letters was we don't know what Prabhupada's replying to. So sometimes you can kind of tell, sometimes you have to guess. I think Krishna is giving you good intelligence to manage everything in Paris. He's giving reports to Prabhupada what's going on, so Prabhupada's responding that Krishna is giving you intelligence. In other words, you're doing the right thing, you're being successful. So that means Krishna's guiding you. Everyone should be kept fully engaged 100% of the time in Krishna's service without a vacant moment, so that Maya will never have a chance to act. Sometimes Prabhupada would say, be engaged 24 hours a day. These are devotees living in the temple, so they could be engaged 24 hours a day. And even when they're sleeping, that's for Krishna, so 24 hours engagement. It does not matter what one's engagement in Krishna's service may be. Krishna accepts equally the service given to him by a little calf and that given by Srimati Radharani. So we should all be very much appreciative of our God brothers and God sisters' service. So there may have been some situation Prabhupada's responding to. We don't know for sure about maybe somebody thinking their service is more important, or perhaps maybe even belittling someone who's not doing important service, or anything that has to deal with thinking that one service is more important, or perhaps more probably thinking your service is better. So then Prabhupada's making a point that spiritual vision is, in one sense you see everything spiritual is absolute, which means it's because it's for Krishna, it's spiritual. So in that sense, it's equal. Like we're all equal, right? Because we're spiritual beings, we're all equal. Although we have different bodies, we may be more evolved spiritually, but in another sense, we're all equal because we're all spiritual. So everyone engaged in Krishna's service is equal, and then Prabhupada says that Krishna is pleased by everyone's service, he accepts everyone's service equally. So somebody's doing what appears to be a little bit of service, and you appreciate that. So what's interesting is that really, if you understand what Prabhupada's saying here, he's saying, don't look at it from your perspective that this is better than this service is better than this, or this is more service than that, but look at it from Krishna's perspective, because it's for him and he's accepting it. See the difference? So, okay, you may make a judgment if you're a manager. Well, we could do 5 things, this is most important, this is not as important. That's different. But here Prabhupada's speaking purely from a relational point of view of working together, and particularly point of view of knowledge and realization. So, from this, what we call the absolute platform, Krishna's accepting the service of everyone, so why not you? What's your problem? Yeah. Right? And this is very interesting, because sometimes we see that even Prabhupada accepted service of devotees that some devotees didn't really like. Whoa. Like some devotees may have not have felt that this devotee is not doing service well, or he should be doing another service, or whatever. But that service was pleasing to Prabhupada. So now we're looking at it one way, but we're not thinking, how is my spiritual master looking at it? Because if it's pleasing to my spiritual master, then I should be happy that he's pleased. even if I'm not pleased, right? It should be. If Krishna is pleased, I should be pleased, even if I'm not pleased. That's the idea. So we sometimes get caught in that trap. I don't think Prabhupada would be pleased with this, or I don't think Krishna's pleased with that. Well, you may be right, but you may be wrong. You don't, so we have to try to sometimes see things through the devotee's heart. The devotee's sincere, he's trying to serve. Is that pleasing to Prabhupada? Is that pleasing to my spiritual master? He's making sincere effort. So then we see it that way and we think, yes, he must be pleasing Prabhupada, he's trying. He's making an effort. So that way, Prabhupada's saying, if you see that way, then you can appreciate it. Because it's not always easy to appreciate, is it? And we can understand from this letter that Prabhupada wants us to appreciate. So we should all be very much appreciative of our godbrothers and godsisters' service, even if it's little service, not significant. That's Krishna consciousness. I mean, imagine every devotee was like that. Well, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, I appreciate your service so much. What? No, I didn't do anything. No. I so much appreciated, but actually appreciated, not just saying it, but actually appreciating. That's it's one thing you could say, okay, I heard the class, so I'm going to go around and tell everyone how much I appreciate their service. But you really don't. You're just saying it because, that's what it says you should do. That's not really how we should understand any instruction. It's not just, okay, I should do it. But the real instruction, yes, you should do it, of course. Better than not doing it. But the real instruction is to actually feel it. Like, you might say, when you see a sannyasi, you should pay obeisances. When you see devotees in the morning, you should pay obeisances. When you see your spiritual master, you should pay obeisances. Okay, that's one level. But the other level is you should want to. And you should feel humble, and you should be offering them respects. That's what you're supposed to be experiencing. Right? So that's how we have to see it. Not just that you say I appreciate, but you actually feel it. That's what Prabhupada means. So the two things are there. See it more from Krishna's perspective. He appreciates anything his devotee does. And then feel that if Krishna appreciates, I should also appreciate. Okay. I can't read the dates here. Oh, this is September 21st. Okay. This is January 1st, 1971. Now we're into 71. Let's go back a little. I think I skipped. I think you can understand what's happening by Prabhupada's response to this letter. Now all my disciples must work combinedly and with cooperation to spread the Sankirtan movement. If you cannot work together, then my work is stopped up. Our society is like one big family, and our relationships should be based on love and trust. We must give up the fighting spirit and use our intelligence to push ahead. You should accept help from your godbrothers. So obviously there's some fighting going on here. So Prabhupada is making a few points. We should work combinedly with cooperation. If we can't, then the work's going to stop. We're not going to be able to work. The mission won't go on. And we're like a family, so within a family there should be love and there should be trust. And then he said we should give up the fighting spirit. So fighting spirit just comes, it's packaged into Kali Yuga. That's what Kali Yuga is about, fighting. So, go to the park, the little kids are fighting. Everybody's fighting. Go, every house in the street, you don't think there's fighting? Sometime, the next month, somebody's going to fight about something. Maybe every day, sometimes, right? At least amongst the kids, they like to fight. So, it's Kali Yuga. I mean, I don't know in other ages if everybody fought so much, but Kali Yuga is pretty good for fighting. So, the way I read this is that, as we were discussing last week, that there's a nature that we all have, and fighting it's kind of natural. If you're with people that you don't get along with, they do things in a way you wouldn't do them yourself. They make decisions you don't agree with. At some point, you get upset. And if they do something very upsetting, you get very upset. And so Prabhupada's noticing this. And I think what's going on here, he's saying you should accept help from your God brothers. That means maybe they're giving him some feedback that he didn't want. And he's resisting. Maybe he's fighting back, maybe he's criticizing back, that response. Well, you're not so good yourself. That's the response to criticism or suggestion. That's common. So, we have a fighting spirit. We should give it up. Why? For higher cause. That's basically what Prabhupada's saying. Okay, this may be the way you are. Look at the bigger picture. We have a movement. If we don't work together, this important movement cannot go on. So give up your fighting spirit. It's a higher cause. Transcend your tendency for a higher cause. Like in the Gita, you have the concept of intelligence being higher than mind and senses. So by use of intelligence, you control your mind, you control your senses. So it's a similar thing here, Or by you're working for something higher. So by focusing and working on for something higher, you give up your lower tendencies. So it's just really a request. Please give up your fighting spirit. Otherwise, how can we push the movement on? It's not going to work. So then you think, okay. Some people find this very difficult. Some people don't. Some people understand this. It's just they understand intuitively. Okay, I don't agree with what you're doing, but if I make this huge ruckus, it's going to disturb the situation, so I just go along with it, even though I don't agree. Even though I'm upset. But I don't tell anybody I'm upset. I go along with it. Some people they know that. It's logical to them. It's common sense. Other people, they don't. Other people are of the mentality, I can't go along with it because I don't think it's right, I don't agree. And they're outspoken, they'll let people know they don't agree, they'll let, like that. So Prabhupada's saying, okay, if that's where you're at, if that's your nature, it's not going to work for spreading Krishna consciousness. Now, I'm sure some people may read this and say, no, if it's not right, you shouldn't cooperate. And I think we discussed this a little bit, and there is truth to that. But there's another side of that, and generally what Prabhupada would say, then try to change it, but cooperate while you're trying to change it. You don't just have a mutiny, everybody leaves, and you have no organization. Right? So, try to work it out. Okay, give up your fighting spirit, cooperate, try to work it out. You may not agree, try to work it out. That's the goal. Now, Prabhupada wrote many letters about this. Did it happen? Sometimes it did, and sometimes it didn't. Sometimes there were people who could not cooperate. So what did Prabhupada do? As we talked last week, he would say, okay, then you go here and you go there. This was the first instruction, give up your fighting spirit, work combinedly. The second remedial measure was, okay, you go here, you go there. It's like, okay, you can't live together, separate. You can't get back together, divorce. It's not what we want, but sometimes that's all we can do. So Prabhupada would do that because it was practical. Have to be practical. So sometimes it may come to that, but it's not the first line of defense. Okay, here's a very interesting statement. Would you all like to hear this interesting statement? No, I didn't hear anything from any. We have to figure out how you can put up your webcam so I can hear you and see you. Anyway, this is what Prabhupada said. No, I have to go and see if you said yes. Nobody said yes. I don't know if I'm going to tell you then. Okay, teasing only. This is what Prabhupada said. Please continue to work with determination and great faith in Krishna and Guru Maharaj. This is Prabhupada. Great faith in Krishna and Guru Maharaj. Did he mean his Guru Maharaj or himself? He meant himself. And full cooperation of your God brothers. Determination, faith in Krishna Guru Maharaj, full cooperation of your God brothers. That means cooperate with him and fellow members of the governing body. So this must have been to the governing body commission. These are the leaders of the movement. Cooperate with your God brothers and the other members of the governing body. If you all keep to the standard practices of pure spiritual life as I have humbly instructed you, there's no doubt that the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya will overtake all the earth, and all opposing parties will be cracked down to nothing. Now let me explain that. That's very interesting. Let's take the second half of this sentence first, and then it'll make the first part will have more power. Prabhupada saying, I've given you a process which is pure. Rising early, chanting your rounds. I know all of you out there rise early and chant your rounds very well. You follow 4 regular principles, not 3, not 2, not 1, but 4. Right? Yeah, okay. And the other practices of Krishna consciousness, like worshipping the deities, giving Krishna consciousness to others, doing service in the temple, like that. So these are the practices, and attending classes, studying, if you're not in association devotees, studying scripture. So this is what Prabhupada's talking about. Then he said, if you all keep to this standard practice, then there's no doubt the Sankirtan movement will overtake the earth. In other words, purity is the force. So if you maintain this purity, then in due course of time, I think there's an if here, that these standard practices meaning also you're fully engaged in spreading Krishna consciousness as an exemplary teacher, using novel ways to do it, and straining your brain how to do it, maintaining exemplary behavior in all your actions, in your words, and in your mind. Then, if we all do this, the power of that will be so strong and so attractive that gradually our teachings will replace any, it'll just attract people. It'll attract religious people. People who want to be religious, people who aren't religious, who are pious, and people who are teaching other things opposed to pure theism. They just won't have like atheistic science and cheating religions. They just, people will not support them. That's basically what he's saying. They won't, put 2 products together, Put the iPhone 5 next to the iPhone 1. Right, the iPhone 1's not going to sell. But that's basically what Prabhupada's saying. And then, so if you take that as a result, then the first thing that Prabhupada's saying, cooperate with your God brothers. Like that, the second thing won't happen if we don't do the first thing. That's the idea. So that's very important for us to understand that individually we won't be successful. And Prabhupada said that. He said individually, whatever success we can have individually, it's not going to be internationally broad and powerful. We might make a few hundred disciples, a few thousand. But combiningly, then we're going everywhere in the world. We're doing something very powerful. We're distributing millions of books in so many languages by our combined efforts. So, combined efforts, the more we're combined, the more we work together, then what happens? The more successful we are. That's what Prabhupada said. And if we do it well, then our success will increase more and more and more, and people will appreciate it more and more, and they'll see the value of the teachings of Krishna consciousness, and they'll take it up. Hard to believe, isn't it? Okay. I understand from Kurandar that you will be setting up another ISKCON press in Los Angeles to engage our New York press in transcendental competition for printing my books. And now we have 2 presses. Competition and profiteering spirit are always there in the living entity. It is not that they can be artificially removed in some matter. Actually, we saw in Russia that by removing competition and profit calculation from society, the people were not at all happy, and still these things are going on. So we shall not expect that we are any different. The only difference is that our profit is for Krishna's pleasure. And our competition is how to please Krishna more than someone else. Even amongst the gopis, there is competition to please Krishna. And there is envy also, but this envy is not material. It is transcendental. They are thinking, oh, she has done so much more wonderful service than me. That is very nice, but now let me do something even more wonderful like that. So, competition and profiteering seem to be material, right? So we should not compete with devotees, and we should not try to get anything from anybody. But Prabhupada's saying, but competition is natural. And even the gopis compete to serve Krishna better than the other gopi. But there's no envy. There's nothing mundane. So there is a level of transcendental competition. Transcendental competition, or anything transcendental, will enthuse one in Krishna consciousness. If you're not becoming enthused and motivated for the right reason, it's not Krishna consciousness, it's mundane competition. Like, I just want to do better to prove that I'm better. Okay, that's mundane. I want to do better to please Krishna more than you. I want to see if I can please Krishna even more. So the goal is to please Krishna. The goal is not to outdo you. That's the difference, right? Mundane competition, I just want to outdo you because I want to be number one. So Prabhupada's saying, competition is natural, but that's how it should be done. That Krishna is the goal. So you distributed 100 books a day. Tomorrow I say, I'm going to do better than you. I'm going to distribute 108 books. And I want to do that to please Prabhupada. So I'm becoming enthused, competitive, because of your service. So that's good. Right? So that we don't want to remove. It's just free from envy. That's good. So anything other than that, it's just material. And as neophyte devotees, these material things come up all the time. So we always have to remember, at least I find this for myself really powerful, why did you come to Krishna consciousness? Did you come to Krishna consciousness to outdo everybody? Probably not. I mean, I'm sure somebody did, but most of us didn't. Did you come to be the number one devotee, to be recognized as the number one devotee? No. Did you come to Krishna consciousness so you could find a place to put your envy? No, I don't think so. Did you come because you didn't like devotees? No, I don't think so. But these things may come up as you're becoming purified. So you just go back and remind yourself why you came to Krishna consciousness. I didn't come to outdo everyone. I didn't come to become the number one. I didn't come to have people bow down to me. I came to serve. That's what we have to remember, and then we won't get into trouble. I mean, or when we do get into trouble, we remember this, and then we get out of trouble. Or if we remember it before, you won't get into trouble in the first place. Why am I here? What's my whole reason I'm here? It's to become a pure devotee, to serve my spiritual master, to serve Prabhupada, to serve his movement, to please him, to please Krishna. That's it. If my having 1 million followers pleases Krishna, I'll take it. If my having no followers pleases Krishna, then I have no followers. Bhaktisiddhanta Naistiki Brahmachari says, if Krishna wants, I'm prepared to have 100 children. Have sex 100 times, have 100 children, if that's what Krishna wants. I didn't come to be brahmachari, I didn't come to be grihastha, I came to please Krishna. If that pleases Krishna, I'll do it. I will do it. That's it. So if we remember that, then if there is envy, if there is competition, profiteering, whatever, then it should only be in relation to pleasing Krishna. Then it's good. Then we're happy. Everything's fine. Right? Okay. The difference between cooperation and Maya. Here, competition is for sense gratification. How much can I enjoy my senses? And the other person sees how much can he enjoy his senses. In the spiritual world, the competition is how to satisfy Krishna. There, the center is one. If you draw innumerable circles, they will not overlap. But here, the circles overlap. Even a small circle can overlap a large circle. This is because in the material world there are many centers, whereas in the spiritual world there is only one center. Spiritual world, whether the circles are big or small, they will never overlap. In the spiritual world, similarly, whatever or whoever is rendering the service, there is never competition or maliciousness. There can't be competition or maliciousness. There can't be anything material in the spiritual world. Otherwise, what does spiritual life mean if we degrade ourselves to the platform of passion and ignorance? And what does spiritual life mean? It just becomes external. But obviously, spiritual life means transcendental. So whenever we find ourselves with attitudes that are material, then we should understand, okay, this is not spiritual life. This is not how someone in Krishna consciousness thinks. It's not how someone on any spiritual path would think. So, we just have to be very self-aware. Like you were talking today about shame. Sometimes we don't want to confront our anarthas because we're just ashamed. So as you said, it's better just to ignore it than I don't have to deal with the shame. But actually it's the opposite. The more you are ashamed for how you're thinking, the more you correct it. At least in terms of thinking about doing something that's not Krishna conscious or having attitudes that aren't Krishna conscious. If you stop and think, this is wrong, I'm ashamed that I'm thinking this way, it's very purifying. Not ashamed in a negative way. This is very positive. It's a very positive effect. Really, it's positive. I mean, if you're not, if you know how to process it well. If you look at yourself, it's like you're doing something, but you're doing it the wrong way, and you catch yourself. Oh, I'm doing this the wrong way. Why am I'm so stupid. They taught me to do it this way, I'm doing it this way. So then you remember and you do it the right way. So it's the same way. You may be thinking in the wrong way and you say, wait a minute, this is not how a devotee thinks. This is wrong. What's the matter with you? And then you should feel ashamed that I'm thinking like this. That helps rectify your thinking. So it can have a very positive effect, I find, anyway. I'm sure for some people, maybe they can't deal with it. But if you understand it, if you understand how it can have a positive effect, then it's just you're reminding yourself that you understand I should go this way, but I'm going that way, and I'm so ashamed because I've been told so many times I should be going this way, but still I'm going that way. And then I look at the situation and say, bad boy, Mahatma, bad boy. You're a very bad boy. Don't do that. And you just connect with what's wrong, and you're so aware of what's wrong that it brings you back to what's right. And you'll see when you're not Krishna conscious, you're not aware. Or even if you're aware, you're not aware enough to deal with it. You're not willing enough to deal with it. You just, I know, but anyway. Right? I know I shouldn't, sit here and watch TV for 7 hours, but, it's been a rough day. And you'll have a million reasons, right? As opposed to sit there and say, you've been hearing classes every day, utilize your time. You could be studying scripture, you could be chanting, you're watching some stupid show. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Don't you feel bad? You talk yourself out like that. But that will get you out of it. If you're really attached to watching that television show, definitely you're not going to talk to yourself like that. You say, you deserve it, there's nothing wrong. What's the big deal? These devotees are fanatical. What's the big deal? It's just this television show. I mean, need a little relaxation. 4 hours later, when you turn the TV off, you're, God, I just wasted 4 hours, I'm so stupid. Then, I think under no intoxication we should include television because it's intoxicating. Don't intoxicated people do this? You try to talk to someone when they're watching television. Isn't it? So, maybe we should make that the 5th regulative principle. So everyone out there who's listening to this class, I want you to be completely ashamed of yourself. I want you to have a breakdown tonight. Cry, collapse in shame for every bad thing you've ever done. Sometimes we just have to tell ourselves, you're on the path of bhakti, you're trying to be pure, this is not the right way to think, or this is not the right way to act for someone who's pure. Just get it together. You talk to yourself. Here's a story one teacher tells. He was in a market, and one child was going crazy. And the mother was saying, Jennifer, be calm, Jennifer. Be patient, just be patient. And the kid's just going crazy. Jennifer, okay? Just calm down, just go with the flow. It'll be all right, Jennifer. And so this teacher comes up to the woman and says, I was just admiring how you're dealing so patiently with your child. I'm so impressed. She goes, I'm Jennifer. So, something like that. You're going off and you go, okay, Mahatma, this is not how a devotee thinks. This is not right. You're thinking right now like an animal, actually. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Sometimes we are taught that devotees, we're taught through the prayers of acharyas, that the devotees will address themselves as a separate entity. Like address their mind, for example. Like it's I who am the one who has knowledge, who understands what to do, am now addressing my mind and reasoning with my mind as if there are two entities in my body and we're talking. My dear mind, don't you understand that I've given myself to Krishna? Don't you understand that only the lotus feet of Krishna can satisfy us? Why are you always trying to go somewhere else? Can't you just leave me alone? It's the same idea. It's a recognition of a problem, and it's a self-talk your way through the problem. This is not right. This is not good. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Like that. You can try it and see. It does work. At least it works for me. Okay. It is not so much that because there may be some faults in our God brothers and God sisters, or because there may be some mismanagement or lack of cooperation, that it is due to being impersonalists. This devotee wrote a letter and he saw, I don't know, maybe he thought like we should all be, unification means we all have the same mindset and the same, we're all like the same basically. And Prabhupada he's saying in this letter, or later in this letter, he's saying, no, we're all individuals. It's not, the problem is not that we're individuals, but because we're individuals, that's why we're different, and that's why, because there's difference, it's sometimes hard to get along. So it's not, he's saying it's not that we should try not to be individuals and just all, we'll kind of lose ourselves in a oneness where we all can cooperate. Saying, no, there'll always be differences because we are individuals. Then he goes on to say, it is the nature of the living condition to always have some fault. Even in the spiritual world there's some fault and envy. Sometimes the gopis will quarrel over Krishna's favor, and once Krishna was so much attracted to Radharani that by mistake he tried to milk a bull. So he's saying, even in the spiritual world there's faults. Sometimes the gopis used to put on their dress and makeup for seeing Krishna. They would be too much hasty and smear kumkum and mascara in the wrong places. And their ornaments and dresses would appear as if small children had been trying to dress themselves. So, Prabhupada's saying, don't look for perfection. It's just the nature that there's going to be some fault that we have to accept. And anyway, it's a specific issue that he's dealing with, but he's making the point that, like what happens sometimes is someone's a devotee, so you expect so much from a devotee. Isn't it? You're a devotee, so I didn't think devotees did that. I didn't think devotees said that. I don't think devotees acted like that. Well, they don't, but you're trying to be a devotee. So you're coming from the conditioned stage. So sometimes conditioned devotees do act like that. And it's just part of the illness that we're overcoming a material illness. So sometimes we're not perfect. So Prabhupada's trying to just make the point that even in the spiritual world they do what appears to be faulty things. Even the gopis, they are in anxiety and they don't dress well. And Krishna's milking a bull. So, not that that's really a fault in and of itself, but saying that we're not perfect. He goes on to say, but it's not the same as a material fault or material envy. It is transcendental. It's all because it's all based on Krishna. Sometimes when one gopi would serve Krishna, the others would say, oh, she has done so nicely, now let me do better for pleasing Krishna. That is envy, but it's transcendental, without malice. In other words, you want to please Krishna. I want to do better than you did, pleasing Krishna. So there's no malice there. But in a sense, you could say it's envy. But it's pure. It's envy, but it's pure envy. Why is it pure? Because it's being used to satisfy Krishna. And the person who you're envious of, so-called, is the one inspiring you to serve Krishna. So Prabhupada uses the word envy. I want to do better than you. So why do I want to do better than you? Because I've seen what you've done, and I've become inspired to please Krishna even more now. So I'm apparently envious. But what's the result of the envious? Being envious, I'm inspired by you, and I'm envious of you. So that's completely transcendental. Anything that helps you in Krishna consciousness is transcendental. Anything that takes you away is Maya. Now, something may externally seem to be very Krishna conscious, but it takes you away. So how Krishna conscious is it? Like that, you know? Oh, but it's Sattva Guna. It's from India. Okay, it's from India. Big deal. You know, Sattva Guna. Okay, but still, what was the result? Is the result you're becoming more Krishna conscious, you're more attached to Krishna, to chanting, to hearing, serving, or are you less attached? So, you know, you can take something which externally seems to be Krishna conscious and de-Krishnaize it, in a sense. So, envy without malice. We shall not expect anywhere there is utopia. People should not expect that even in the Krishna conscious society there will be utopia. Because devotees are persons, therefore there will always be some lacking. But the difference is they're lacking because they have given up everything to serve Krishna, money, jobs, reputation, wealth, big educations, everything. Their lackings have become transcendental because, despite everything they may do, their topmost intention is to serve Krishna. So that's like the icing on the cake. Prabhupada's pointing out, okay, you have a fault, I have a fault. What's the intention? Right? What are you trying to do here? You're trying to be pure. That's what's important. So now, if we see the intention in the heart of every devotee, we generally will not become critical and will generally become appreciative because we see their intention. Just like a mother, she sees the intention of the children. She's not like, hey, you know, you're 10 years old, you should be running, you know, a company. You know, no, that would be stupid. You know, expecting perfection beyond what she can achieve. But she sees the heart, sincerity, the kindness, all these things. So she's happy. I mean, she's a normal mother. She's an Indian mother, then I don't know. She wants straight A's. Don't get straight A's, she may not be happy. But you understand the analogy. Only joking, don't shoot me, Indian mothers. You're probably laughing now because you know it's true. Anyway, maybe if you stay in America long enough, you'll change. Not that it's bad that your kids do well in school. I'm not saying that. That's very good they do. But if your kids are trying the best they can, that's what you need to see. Not the grades. Now you might say, but if they're trying the best they can, then they should get better grades. If they're trying the best they can, that's the best they're going to get. And maybe they can do better next semester. Anyway, this is such an important point because we often don't look at the intention of a person, or we misjudge the intention. That's even worse. That's really bad. But we often only look at externally what the devotee is doing. And then we find fault with that. It's not perfect, it's not right, but the intention may have been very pure. So in Prabhupada's saying, appreciate the intention. It's very important. Because if we appreciate the intention, then we can be very appreciative of devotees. And then we're looking beyond